Okay, trying to get used to this mic. Okay. Whew. All right, so very good afternoon, everyone. Has everyone had their lunch? Cool, all right. So I think first of all, I would like to thank the organizers of TEDxUCSI International School for inviting me to be on this stage. It's truly a pleasure to be here to share with you all on a topic that I'm really passionate about. So I'll try to keep this within the 15 minutes that's been allocated to me. I have a tendency to, extend it at times because I talk a lot. So a very brief introduction about myself. My name is Pravin Nair. I'm from a small town in Kedah called Kulim. So I would like to see a raise of hands. Anyone here who has heard Kulim before? Okay, I'm proud. I'm proud. It's somewhere there in the map. Good. Now, I just graduated last year from University Technology Petronas with a degree in chemical engineering, and I'm currently working as a category analyst in a national oil and gas company. But what I'm doing currently is as a part-time, on every Saturday morning, I'm involved in a grassroots coaching initiative, all right, whereby I am teaching football to a group of kids. And so this story starts all the way back when I was a little kid, when I discovered that I had a huge love for the game of football. So any football fans here in this hall? Yep, quite a number of y'all. Good. Now, you know what fascinates me a lot about the game of football? It is how the sport is able to produce world-class talents year in, year out. And when I look at how the sport is able to do so, I discovered that it had built such an ecosystem whereby if a player as young as 7 goes into an academy, right, he or she picks up the necessary technical skills, gets the right attitude, and more importantly, obtains the necessary physicality to meet the demands of the modern game. It is this curiosity that pushed me to finally put my hands and feet into the world of football coaching. And so I decided to give it a try. On the 6th of January this year, I stepped into the Everton Kids Academy in Kelana Jaya. I went there thinking, all right, I'm just going to give this a try, and if it doesn't work out, it's fine, I'll just walk out. But deep down, I knew that this perhaps was something that I would be so proud to say it is my initiative. All right? So I went, and I remember my first time, my first session, I was actually thinking that I would be coaching a bunch of teenagers, 12, 13-year-olds. And then the head coach, Coach William, comes up to me and he says, all right, Pravin, welcome, first day, huh? All right, you'll be coaching this bunch of kids over there. I'm like, which bunch of kids? Yeah, you see, 7, 8-year-olds. I'm like, you mean the small little kids? He said, yeah, you'll be handling them. And I was a bit lost. I was like, all right, here I am wanting to kickstart my coaching career, and you're asking me to coach some bunch of kids? I don't know how does this equate, And so he tells me, Pravin, everyone needs to start from somewhere, all right? And if you want to learn something, you've got to learn it the hard way. If you can influence these kids to love the game of football, if you can influence them to have the right mindset and attitude, you could go far as you go up through the ranks. And so I took on the challenge, and 8 months down the road, I've learned a lot. I've learned tremendously. And today on this stage, I'm really glad to share with you some of the lessons that I've gained. And these lessons that I believe will be very useful for each one of you. And today also I'll be sharing some snippets from our weekly training session. In fact, today I came actually quite late. I came in at 11:30 because our training session goes from 8:30 till 10:30. So after 10:30, I quickly rushed back, had a quick shower, and came to the hall. But what you're going to see as well during the next 10 minutes or so are a few snippets of what actually goes, on what actually happens in the 2 hours that when a kid walks into the field on the Saturday morning. So the first value that I'll always touch on is the importance of a secure base. The definition of secure base lies in the word itself. It is a figure who comes across as someone who cares, someone who empathizes, someone who believes in you. It can be in the form of your parents, it can be in the form of your siblings, or even your spouse. How many of you can proudly say that you have a secure base in your life? Please raise up your hands. So some of you are confident enough to say that you have a secure base in life. Some of you, not so sure. Now that is the same thing that happens in the kids' minds when they walk onto the field every Saturday morning. Their parents are not there. The siblings are not there. They are entering a field with total strangers and this tall guy who calls himself as coach. They're thinking to themselves, can I trust this coach? And that is where my role as a secure base comes into the picture. You see, without me playing my role as a secure base, the kids do not have that safety net to have the confidence to fail, to have the confidence to try something new. And I think it's applicable to all of us here today, right? When you want to try something new, the first thing that comes into your mind is, what happens if I fail? Am I right? Who will be there to pick me up when I fail? Will there be someone to tell me, it's fine, it's the first time, there will always be a second time? We can all agree that is something that always occurs in our mind. And for these kids, it's the same. What I noticed at the start in the first month was that the moment they could not execute a particular task, they would just shy away because they were afraid. They were reluctant. And that was when I read up more about the importance of this secure base. What did I do? I went to them, each of them, and whenever they had any difficulties, I'll stand next to them and say, it's fine. I'll show you again. Do it again. Week in, week out. Even if they can't get it, I will show them again. I'll do my best not to raise my voice. It's difficult, dealing with kids. You suddenly shout at them and then be like, no, calm down. You are their secure base. Don't break that. All right? But what I've seen in the past 8 months is that I've seen more courage. What I've seen is they've become much braver in trying something new. So I would like to share with you my first video whereby what we noticed at the start was that in any case, a kid when he walks into the field, the natural tendency is for him to kick with his stronger foot. Am I right? We all do that. We all use our stronger foot for everything. We use our stronger hand for any kind of sports, badminton, tennis. But in football, you can't be reliant on one foot alone. You've got to be dual-footed because that will make you much more versatile as a player. But how do we get these kids to understand that? They're still young and they're afraid, they're fearful of what it would be like to use their other foot. And so we devised a very simple exercise. And it's called kicking against the wall. So the first video.
Good. Very good.
So as you can see, Adam here.
Right feet, left feet.
He's using both his foot, the right foot and the left foot. And Cadence was also right-footed.
Right feet, huh? Good. Again.
And you can clearly see whenever he's kicking with the right foot, he's very stable. But when he wants to move to his left foot, he hesitates. All right? Now with the right foot, you see he's very confident. But then when he comes to the left foot, they're hesitant. Now, the reason why I'm showing this video is because it takes time for someone to pick up something new. Am I right? It takes time for us to pick up something new. But if we do not cultivate this from a young age, they would grow up to become very reliant on one foot only. So that is my first point about being a secure base. The next lesson that I gained was the importance of building rapport, not only with the kids, but also ensuring among them there was a strong teamwork, there was a strong team spirit. Let me tell you how was the condition like when I first joined in the first month. I would walk in, the first 5 minutes I'll be very calm, and the next 2 hours my blood pressure will just shoot up. Okay, I'll be shouting every 10 minutes, I'll be screaming at them. one time I just kicked the ball, one of the kids' ball away to the drain and told him to pick it up himself. All right, I lost my temper. But what happened in the whole process was that although I had an idea, I was trying to tell the kids, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. They just never got it. I failed in trying to influence the kids towards the direction, the vision that I had for them. And in the first step of us wanting to influence people towards our vision, towards what you want them to believe in, you need to build a rapport with them. And so I decided to go through this series of relationship building with them. And I realized the best thing with kids is, you just have to listen to them. You know, kids, they have a lot of noise, all right? In a day, I will listen to almost every single noise from every single kid. They will have something to complain, even for the most pettiest of things, all right? For instance, one of their friend kicks the ball away. For that also, they will start crying. And for an adult like me, I'd be like, why? Why do you want to cry? I'll get very annoyed. But then I thought to myself, all right, what would happen if I just listened to them? And so that's what I did. I just sat down, I listened. Tell me, what is your problem? And when the kids, they would just pour out whatever is in their mind. And when they pour out, they are suddenly feeling that there is a person that they can trust. There is someone that they can really rely upon, and they know that this person cares about him. And then I could feel in the next few months this rapport slowly, this relationship strengthening. And today I can proudly say, whenever we have any arguments, the kids would always come to me and tell me what's happening. They wouldn't hide behind my back. They wouldn't deal with problems on their own. But they would come to me as the coach and ask me what to do next. And even among themselves, there's a great team spirit. When in the first month, they will be fighting for every single thing, for every single reason. Now they break up fights on their own. They'll be like, don't fight, don't fight, don't fight, don't fight. You know, coach said, love all, serve all. Don't fight, you know. You know, why? What's the issue? What's the issue? And I mean, I don't encourage them to solve problems on their own, but the very fact that the relationship among the kids have strengthened makes my job as a coach much easier. Because remember, my objective is to influence them to love the game, is to influence them towards the right attitude. And if I do not build a relationship with them, it will never happen. And I think this is a scenario that is very applicable in our lives as well. We have to ensure that we build a solid relationship with those that we want to work directly with those that we want to influence. Build a solid relationship. So my next video would be an initiative that we created, whereby we realized that in the 2 hours that the kids are in the field, they're always listening to our instructions on what to do. So we thought, let's do a talent show. All right? I just tell the kids, okay, you have 1 minute to prepare. Show one particular skill to the other kids. A skill could be that you have learned in this 2-hour session, or it could be somewhere where you learned in school or at home, anything. Just show us what you have. And I was really amazed when I saw the results. Even those who failed in the first attempt will pick the ball up and try again. And I felt that was really the beauty of this whole exercise. Them coming together, of them trusting me, of them knowing that this coach believes in them.
Been looking at the sky for a little while. Watch the clouds roll by, and I start to smile. And as the plane flies past, I give a friendly wave. And then I think about you. What a happy day. And I fly like a pilot. I'm a strong.
Look at this kid right now, huh? What's he gonna do?
High as the moon in the sky. And I jump
And although this didn't work out,
like a kangaroo. I swim to be close to you. I swim.
but you see, That kid Yash had the cheek to try that. And I never taught him this, alright? We've never taught to do overhead kicks, bicycle kicks whatsoever because of safety lah, we don't teach them all this yet. But when we gave them the space, right, they were coming out with all sorts of skill. Like Yash was trying to do his bicycle kick. We didn't capture the fifth attempt when he finally did it. He lofted the ball and he kicked it so perfectly, it flew all over to the other side where the adults were playing. It was a perfect bicycle kick. And you saw like Xiao was throwing the ball into thin air, alright? But in the 6th or 7th time he did it, he threw the ball, he punched the ball above, and then he started screaming. He was like, I'm so happy. I was like, okay, so your objective was to punch the ball. Alright, good. I'm good with that. But you see, the excitement that the kids have when the coach has the trust in them to just try something new, be creative, be innovative, and then the support within the group, clapping for each other, helping out. You saw some of the kids were helping to throw the ball to the other person because there was that team spirit within. So the third lesson I would like to share with all of you is, no, it's a slide. Okay, all right, oops, previous slide. Okay, the value of clarity, the lesson of clarity. Now as a coach, I have a set of objectives when I walk into the field on a Saturday morning. We're going to do this, and go back. But most of the times, I do not miss most of my objectives. Simply because the kids, they do not reciprocate with me in the objectives that I have. To them, that ball is just a ball to kick. It's just to have fun, it's just to cry about it, it's to laugh about it and then go back. So how do I crunch that objective into something relatable for the kid? And I think that is where clarity is very important. It is not about the way it's not about how I send out my message, it's about how the messenger perceives the message. That's the common phrase out there, right? It's about who receives the message that is most important. How does the person perceive the message? And with clarity, I think this is a very important lesson for all of us out there today. As leaders, or even as friends, when we want to impart knowledge to people, when we want to impart information to people, do we take the time to understand what they have understood from the message? Do we ask them to repeat what was being mentioned? Do we try to break the objectives down into something that they can relate to? So one of the things that we did was that, as a coach, I want to develop technical attributes. I want them to be able to dribble. I want them to be able to not rely on seeing the ball all the time. I want them to look up, see for opportunities as they're moving with the ball. But I just can't do that by blowing the whistle and, okay, run from one point to another point, just run, look up. They don't get it. They don't understand why do they have to do it. And so that is why we make sure that we create activities that combines an element of kids-related fun to the actual lesson that we want to impart to the kids. So our next video is the activity called Tiger Tails. In this activity, the objective was two things. Number one, like I mentioned, we want the kids to learn to look up and look for opportunities. Don't look on the ground too often. The second one is to make sure that when you can see an empty space, you go there. Find space within the boundaries of the square that we've created for them. So we gave them, each of them, one tail, which is a bib. And we say, when I blow the whistle, I want you all to grab another person's tail. But with one condition, the ball must always be at your feet. So it's a series of coordination. I must keep the ball close to my feet, and I must go and look for tails to snatch from my other friends. So I want you all to enjoy the next video. It's not the cleanest of exercise, I have to admit. But just look at how those kids embrace this activity. Just look at how they move around the entire square and how they do not stay stagnant.
Sadam, puli sadam.
So see, this boy here, he was trying to take the tail from the other kid. Now look at this kid. So he's trying to move around. This kid is like giving up on me already. But you see what's happening here. So they got to look, and this kid is now trying to take the tail from the other players. But you see, they're moving around. They're moving around. They're finding for opportunities. This kid is now trying to defend himself from this kid. And right here, you saw the kid just snatching away the beat from the other coach. So, I'm so sorry again, I know it's like you might be looking at it and like, okay, what's really going on here? Because we were doing this for the second time and it was still quite messy. But when I looked at the video for the second time, I realized that there were a few lessons that I gained. Personally, I mean, you look at the kids, right? They're moving, they see some space, they go towards it. And then they meet face to face. What do I do? Do I move left? Do I move right? And today we actually played a different game. Today I created a new game called Guardians of the Galaxy, all right, where each kid has a ball, and I say, that is your galaxy. I'm the zombie. I'm going to take your galaxy and throw it away. So the objective was simple. We set up a boundary, and each kid has one ball as the galaxy, right? So when I blow the whistle, as the zombie, I'm just going to go and take the ball from them. I'm going to snatch the ball from them. But what I witnessed was something that astounded me. Those kids put up a lot of effort to move side by side. The movement was amazing. They kept the ball, they protected the ball using the skills that they had learned. And so I would like to end my session today by emphasizing on the importance of cultivating the right values from young. The two key values that I always emphasize are the values of honesty and the value of compassion. Why honesty? Because by building honesty from young, the kid understands the consequences of having a high integrity. The kid understands that for every word that he says, he is accountable to it. And why compassion? Because as he grows up, he sees his other friends not as competitors alone, but as friends that he should help whenever possible, as fellow comrades in the game of football. And as for me, 8 months down the road, I think I've learned a lot. And what's happening next? I guess for me, it's to self-improve. It's not enough to expect the kids to always do better when I, as a coach, I do not do my part in being better. My next step is to take up a professional course into becoming a football coach, a certified football coach. But deep down, my belief is that every kid deserves a coach who believes in them. Every kid deserves to be given the attention and the belief to grow. And I believe that each and every one of us can play a part in that. Thank you, everyone.